Look at Sean Combs, who basically carved out a parallel path to power, but in the music world. He starts at Uptown Records, gets famously fired, but then turns that huge career setback into a launchpad for his own label, Bad Boy Records. And he didn't just find success, he literally defined an era of music, working with absolute icons like the Notorious B.I.G. and becoming this massive cultural and financial powerhouse.
For years, it really seemed like nothing could touch them. Their power and their public image just seemed totally unshakable. But then, the stories began to emerge. And even though they were in completely different fields, the accusations against them showed a chillingly similar pattern of alleged behavior. In Epstein's case, the sheer number of allegations just became undeniable during that initial Florida investigation. The police chief at the time put it so bluntly, he told the Miami Herald, this was not a he said, she said situation. This was 50-something she's and one he, and the she's all basically told the same story.
And for Combs, it was like a similar dam just burst open. After that first explosive lawsuit, more and more people started coming forward. The result? Over 30 lawsuits filed against the music mogul, all painting this picture of widespread alleged abuse that went on for decades.
The real catalyst for Combs was this lawsuit from his former partner, the singer Cassie Ventura. Her statement, "After years in silence and darkness, I am finally ready to tell my story," that was the watershed moment. Even though the case was settled in just one day, it seems like it gave so many others the courage to finally break their own silence. So what's really fascinating about this slide is when you lay out the parallels side by side. The key allegations for both. They include sex trafficking. The accusers range from underage girls in Epstein's case to this mix of ex-partners and staff for Combs. But what's most disturbing, honestly, is when you look at the alleged victim ages. As young as 14 in the Epstein case, and as young as 10 in some of the claims made against Combs. It's just awful.
Power like this doesn't just happen in a vacuum. A huge part of the playbook for both of these men was surrounding themselves with the rich, the famous, and the influential. They built this incredible network that added to their mystique and, as some would argue, acted as a kind of shield of protection.
Epstein's social circle was just this staggering list of global power players. We're talking US presidents, British royalty, Hollywood figures, and it's really crucial to point out that the source material makes it clear that just being associated with Epstein does not, in itself, mean any wrongdoing by these people. And this quote just brilliantly shows the kind of public perception Epstein worked so hard to create for years. This is from Donald Trump back in 2002, painting a picture of this fun-loving socialite. Of course, years later, Trump said that they had a falling out and has always denied any wrongdoing related to Epstein. Combs' circle was, a literal who's who of the music and entertainment industry. This network of high-profile romantic partners and legendary collaborators was so central to his whole image. And as the legal challenges started piling up, these connections came under a lot more scrutiny, with figures like Jay-Z even being named in a lawsuit, an accusation he has strongly denied. So with this mountain of allegations and these incredibly powerful networks, the big question becomes, how did the justice system respond? And this is where the two stories, which were so parallel for so long, really start to go in dramatically different directions.
Listen to Epstein's own words here from 2011. It reveals a really stunning perception of his own crimes. This attempt to downplay what he did came years after he got what many people have called the deal of a century, a plea deal that let him avoid the most serious federal charges he was facing at the time.
Epstein's legal path was confusing, to say the least. That 2008 plea deal meant he only served 13 months with a really generous work release program. He was arrested again in 2019 on much more serious federal charges, but he died in prison before he could ever face trial. Some form of justice did come later, though, with the conviction of his close associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Now, in stark contrast, the legal story of Sean Combs is still being written as we speak. After the Ventura lawsuit, federal agents raided his homes. Then, in September 2024, he was arrested. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all the charges, and a trial date is currently on the books for May 2025. His path to justice is very much in progress.
This slide right here captures the massive turning point in the public story. Just look at the difference. In December 2023, you get this absolute, flat-out denial. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. Then, fast forward to May 2024, after that shocking video of an assault came out, the statement completely changes.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I'm truly sorry. It's a total 180, basically forced into the light by proof that nobody could deny.
So at the end of the day, these two parallel stories of just immense power and devastating allegations, they force us to confront a really difficult and lingering question. In a world where wealth and fame and influence can create this kind of protective shield, what does true accountability even look like? And can it ever really, truly be achieved?